Hey guys, long time no see. This is Ryan coming from you from Resume to Offer. I am in Maui, Hawaii, okay? And I'm here at a work conference. You guys want to see this amazing view. This is at the Grand Wailea. I don't know if you guys can see all that, but damn. Anywho, so all credit does not go to me at all. This is all to my wife. She's an executive with a certain company, big company, and they flew all the executives to Hawaii. So I was able to got a free trip out of that. So that was really, really nice. So kind of doing some work in the hotel room today. She's at kind of some of her seminars that she has to go to. We're here for the whole week. So just enjoying life on the Big Island. Did zip lining the other day, but today I want to make a little bit of a makeup video and talk about things to look into when choosing the right company. Okay, so this is like, if you're a salesperson, if you're in cybersecurity sales, if you're an SDR, if you're a BDR, if you're an AE, what are some parameters to look into for figuring out the correct company to be a part of? Okay, this is a big talked about subject right now because of AI, massive layoffs that are happening all over the place. That's kind of been in the news, and that's going to be happening, by 2030, I believe. They say that 800 million jobs will be automated. Okay, it's not that far away. 6 years. Okay, it might have been 80 million, maybe not 800 million, but 80 million. So you need to be very prepared on what's coming around the track, as well as how to prepare yourself and how to position yourself for the right company. This is very, very major. So a few things. Number one, there's a bit of a checklist that I go through when choosing the right company, choosing the right product, choosing the right company. It's a bit of a mental checklist that I do. So we're going to kind of go through that. Something that I would recommend, I just did an hour-and-a-half sales call where I went through a lot of material, and I went through with specific people, and I'm going to upload that video into the shared document that has all of my free tech resumes. So if you want to look at free tech resumes, but also take a look at that hour and a half, and we go through everything about this, as well as the mindset, as well as like certain sales specifics, so you can kind of do this. And sales techniques that I use in my everyday approach when I'm an account executive, as well as recruiting. So let's talk about a few of these checklist items. So number one is something that I call the 7 pillars of belief. It is belief in certain aspects of the company, but it also gives you an idea of where the company is going. Okay, so first off is, 80% of businesses fail within the first year. Okay, 90% of businesses fail within 2 years. Okay, so this is something that's very significant when you're looking at a company. How long has it been around? Have they been in good duration? Have they been around where they can actually they've built up enough of a client portfolio, they have kind of the bearings, they have the foundation built so far so they can start to grow. Okay, usually in a good timeline, I'm looking at a company that's beyond 3 years. So that's number one. Look at a company that's beyond 3 years. Number two, how big is the company itself? Okay, so size matters in this one. So you want to make sure that you're looking at a company, especially if you're a salesperson. Are you going to be the only salesperson, or are you going to be the one who is going to be with part of a team? Now, frankly, I think it's a lot easier if you're with a sales team that's already been around for a little bit, and you can look on LinkedIn, what is the retention of those salespeople? What is the retention of them, as well as how long have they been around? If I see a salesperson, if I look at a company that has like between 3 to 5 salespeople on their team, and some of the salespeople have been there for 6 months to a year to 2 years, it's a pretty good sign. It means that they've had to at least get sales to keep the job. They have to be making more in commissions or more in revenue than what their salary is. Otherwise, the company wouldn't retain them. So those are some good indicators that I'm looking at when kind of choosing it. The next thing is really also the position they have in the market. So the position in the market, are they kind of pioneers in the market? Are they trailblazing in the market? Are they the ones that are kind of setting the standard? Or are they ones that are like right behind kind of maybe the initial? So there's always one of the biggest things that people forget about is product life cycle. There's no such thing as a product that lasts forever. And the companies that do last forever usually innovate. They add more products or they redevelop the product so it's more, Apple's a good example, right? They had the iPod and the initial iPhone, and they kept innovating it with upgrades to keep it going, okay? And, now there's Samsung and other ones, but, they've had to keep going with innovation and reorganizing the initial product. For companies that never do this, that product's probably not going to last, and usually the window is 2 to 5 years. And I've talked about this on another video. One of my, not really a friend, but more of an acquaintance, is a guy who has been very successful as an account executive, like ridiculously successful. One of his things is he's actually changed companies 4 times because he understands this concept, and he'll be right at the beginning when this product is really taking off. It's in demand in the market. There, people are, there's a lot more inbound marketing kind of going on, right? It's more searched about, it's more talked about, and he'll be there so that sales just really pick up. And after 5 years, when he sees that the sales start to kind of plateau, and maybe decline right then and there, it's a little bit like stocks in a lot of ways, then he'll look at another company that is in the exact same position that is on the growth trend. So something to consider right there, okay? So we talked about timeline, size of the company, size of certain departments. The next thing I want to look at is basically also what I call 7 pillars of belief, okay? So you're looking at this checklist, and there's 7 of them. Number 1 is obviously the industry. Is this an industry that I'm looking at that will probably be in demand over the next 2 to 5 years, so that when I get in now, I'll know the product, I'll know all this stuff. Within 2 years, it'll be really in demand. So number 1 is industry. Number 2 is company. So that makes sense too. Is this company also where is it at in positioning in the marketplace? Number 3 is really the product. Now this is very important. The product itself. Is this product key benefits? When I look at the product, do I look at it as it's going to affect on a mass market scale, or is that very niche market? So you have to kind of imagine a room. Imagine you're talking to a whole auditorium and you talk about your product, and if every hand goes up or the majority of hands go up, okay, that's pretty good. If you talk about your product and you can visualize somebody that's there's certain people that, okay, if I'm talking to HVAC software and all the HVAC people definitely push up their hand, okay, this is going to be an HVAC thing. So you can use that little bit of a mental game, but you want to make sure that it's a product that's going to be in demand with either mass market or a very niche market within the next 2 to 5 years. Okay, so we've talked about, AI, machine learning, cybersecurity, all these things are probably going to be in demand in the next 2 to 5 years, something to consider. And that's not the only ones. There's tons of other companies and products out there. But be aware, is your product and service going to be in demand? The next thing I look at is actually the leadership of the company. Does this leadership, number 1, can the leadership, and this is from experience, can the leadership sell their own product? Okay, does the leadership have in-depth knowledge of their industry? Have they been in the industry? Are they good with people? Have they led teams before? Has the leadership, do they have a book of business kind of walking into it? Big things to kind of consider. But there's no such thing as the perfect leader. So I understand that there's pros and cons with each, but there should be some underlying factors there that you want to look at. So the speed of the leader is really the speed of the company and the speed of the group. So I'm looking at the leadership. Am I going to tie myself to a company where the leadership is kind of lackluster? They're kind of, they're treating this as a side hustle, and they're kind of making sure that everybody else does the work for them. Or are they really stepping in and they're putting in the hours and they're putting in the time? Yes, they put in also the most amount of risk. Okay, and they're also street smart, they're tech smart, they have good leadership qualities, they're motivating but also analytical. Things like that, I'm looking at the leadership. Okay, so we talk about industry, company, industry, company, product, leadership. The next one is also the compensation plan. So the compensation plan, when I'm looking at it, is this going to be the correct incentivization for the salespeople or for whoever joins the company? Does it have the correct mixture, right? Is it a low base, high commission? Is it only commission? Is it high base, low commission? Is it a very high base with bonus strategy, bonus and stock options? And so I'm looking at the compensation plan. And the compensation plan should make sense. It should be ideally something that gets you excited. It makes sense, and it's also it's a challenge, but it's also achievable. It's in this sweet spot. It's in that sweet spot where it's like, yes, if I do X, Y, and Z, I can make this amount of money. If I do the work, if I just do the work, right? And the ideal scenario is that the reason is because other people in the company have done so. Other people in the company have done so. There's so many, I see job ads all the time where it's like, you can make anywhere between 40K and 500K. And then I'll talk to the people, and it's like, okay, so how many people are making this and this? How many people are making this? Nobody's making what they're putting on their job ads. Okay, so it has to be at least a percentage of people. It can't be just one person. It has to be like maybe 20% are making that top level income. The average are making around this OTE, right? And then obviously the bottom 20 is probably getting let go. I totally get that. But it has to be a percentage that are hitting that top earnings. So let's say, for an example, you have a 60 base. It has 120 OTE. OTE stands for on-target earnings. If you do this, great. And I'll always ask, like, how many people are actually hitting their OTE? And they're like, oh, 50%. That's great. That's a great way to go. How many people are going beyond that? Oh, our top 10% make 200K. Okay, that's a great circumstance right there. If they tell me that, like, it's 60 base and 120 OTE. Okay, how many people, what's the percentage that hit OTE? Oh, it's like 5%. 5%? Well, then do these people have then basically, you're not really going to be making 120. You're probably going to hit like 80. That's really, really where the crux. So you got to make sure you ask those questions too. So the compensation plan, and be aware of things like flexible PTO, 401k matching. Those little things do make a big difference, and they add up over time. So, okay, so we talked about the compensation plan. Next thing is tools and training. I'm looking at the tools and training. What resources do you have available to make sales? Do they have advertising going on? Do they have SEO going on? Do they have a strong brand presence? Do they have a good CRM in place? Do they have the right tools to save you time so that you're set up for success? Do they have a training platform where they have the scripts written, or am I going to have to write the script? Or do they have metrics after a year of kind of testing everything so they know kind of what works and what doesn't? So you're always looking at these things, these similar patterns. And you want to make sure that you're just setting yourself up for high levels of success here. Okay, so that's another thing. Let's see, we talk about industry, company, compensation, tools and training, leadership. I feel like I'm forgetting one. Okay. Industry, company, compensation plan. I'm forgetting confused. But anyway, the last thing you have to make sure is that you believe in yourself. That's the number one thing. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you can do it. And I'm not saying that startups aren't good. If I see a company that's a startup, but oh my God, the leadership is amazing. They have a great product. They also have like maybe VC backing. There's like, they got a Series A going on, and they got major influencers that are going to be banking on this. That's a good bet for a startup. Okay. So those are like examples of things that I would consider. In other companies, ideally they're kind of like, they're about to ramp up, they're about to scale up, and you want to position yourself right then and there. But overall, you got to believe in yourself. Okay, and this is where I've talked about before, your self-image comes in. You have to have a strong self-image. You have to work on your skill sets of just sales in general, from everything from lead generation to closing the deal, how to do that, how to take up public speaking, how to have like just confidence in your everyday. So all these little things kind of combine, and that makes up the mixture on how can I position myself correctly within the right organization. Okay, so I hope that helps. feel free to check out that hour-and-a-half long video. I know it's a little long, but it's got a lot of information in it. Also check out if you need free tech resumes. You can find it in the link. I also recommend a few other resources. I keep them below if you want a free 1-hour session with me. It's really good for your mock interviews. Trust me, it's really good so I can comment on those. You can check out below in the description to find out how you can get those and some other like freebies as well. All right, so this is Ryan coming from you from Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii. Tomorrow I'm supposed to go hiking and stand-up paddleboarding. I think me and the wife are gonna hit the beach in about an hour, hour and a half. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well and talk soon. Feel free to reach out anytime. Cheers.